All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our annual general meeting. It's good to see you here. I know some people were stuck in traffic, but however you managed to come here, we are glad to see you. To those who don't know me, my name is Petronella Ndebele, and I'm the Director of Strategic Communications and Stakeholder Relations at Community Living Toronto. I'll be facilitating part of today's program, and once again, thank you for joining us. It is wonderful to be back here at Tatu College event space. Thank you for having us once again, and thank you to everyone who has joined us virtually. As we gather today, it is important to reflect on the history of this country. And as some of you know, September is a special month for me and my family because it marks 15 years of building our lives here, a journey we continue with gratitude and reflection. We came from Zimbabwe and we decided to call Canada our home, a place that continues to remind us of the importance of honoring the past while working towards a better future. And I know we have come from different places, and before we begin, I would like to acknowledge our traditional lands, and may we all acknowledge the traditional lands that we are all on. I would like to acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with Mississaugas of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty signed with multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. We also acknowledge that we are all treaty peoples, including those who came here as settlers, as migrants either in this generation or in generations past, and those of us who came here involuntarily, particularly as a result of the transatlantic slave trade. Today, we pay tribute to the ancestors of those of African and Indigenous origin and descent. Before we begin our annual general meeting, a few housekeeping items to note. This morning, we are streaming live on Microsoft Teams, Facebook, and Instagram. To those joining us on Teams, please note that this meeting is being recorded and we are not using the team chat function. We kindly ask that you use the Q&A function for any questions or comments you may have. Please note that Atam will have his details on the screen, and if you're experiencing any technical details, kindly let him know. To vote, you must be in person and a voting member of Community Living Toronto. For those here in person, voting pedals were given to voting members when they arrived this morning. If you do not have a voting pedal, please raise your hand and we'll have one brought to you right now. I think we are all good. Oh, there. Are you okay? All right. All right. To vote, members will need to raise their pedals to favor or oppose motions. To move or second motions in person, voting members should stand if they can, or make themselves known however they are able to do that, and state their name clearly for the minutes. Refreshments have been made available to our guests, and you're welcome to help yourselves before leaving. We would also like to inform you that we are having a bake sale at 20 Spadina after the event. So please feel free to pass by and get something for a good cause. This is for our United Way fundraising campaign. So feel free to pass by and grab some goodies that are there for our fundraising campaign. You are most welcome to do so. Today we hear remarks from our board members, followed by a video address from the Minister and Deputy Minister of Children, Community and Social Services, and from our parents associated with Community Living Toronto. I had the pleasure of meeting Linda and Ken this morning. A special welcome to you. We're also going to complete the standard voting period led by our board members. We do have a special recognition to present today, and we are honored to welcome our guests, Honorable John Bade and Dianaton. I think they'll be with us if they're not already here, who are going to be joining us this morning, and a special welcome to them. And lastly, we'll hear the highlights of Community Living Toronto's year from our board chair, Stephanie Gower, and CEO, Brad Sanders. So to begin our annual general meeting without any further ado, I would like to welcome Stephanie Gower, chair of our board of directors, to the podium. And over to you, Steph. And thank you so much, everyone, and welcome.
Thank you, Petronilla. Good morning, everyone. I'm Stephanie Gower, Chair of the Board at Community Living Toronto. Thank you so much for joining us in person. I know traffic was terrible, the subway was down, so we really appreciate everyone making it here. And to our friends joining us virtually, welcome to the 77th Annual General Meeting. Before we begin, I'd like to welcome some colleagues and partners who have joined us this morning. People and families supported by Community Living Toronto, representatives from the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services, members of CLTO and representatives from other developmental services agencies, including Community Living Ontario. I see Chris here, so Chris, thank you so much. Members of our Patrons Council and our Board of Directors, our CLTO influencers, and last but not least, our colleagues from QP Local 2191, as well as all Community Living Toronto staff and senior leadership team. So thank you everyone for making time this morning. This year, our annual report theme reflects on our journey of advocacy and inclusion. And for those that know me, know I'm very passionate about our advocacy at CLTO. And this past year has been about moving forward through challenge, change, and growth. So you'll see the annual report is on the table in front of you. Across the sector, we're seeing the pressures of growing wait lists, aging caregivers, and rising costs. At Community Living Toronto, we responded with focus and purpose, and the dedication of our staff and everyone associated with CLTO has kept us on this path while continuing to positively impact lives. So to begin, I'm pleased to introduce a video address we have received from the Honourable Michael Parsa, Minister of Children, Community and Social Services, and Deputy Minister Daniele Zanotti, Deputy Minister of Children, Community and Social Services.
Hi everyone, I'm Michael Parsa, Ontario's Minister of Children, Community and Social Services. And I want to start off by thanking Brad Sanders and Stephanie Gower, the Board Chair, for allowing me to say a few words at your 77th Annual General Meeting. For more than 75 years, Community Living Toronto has provided critical care and services to people with developmental disabilities, as well as their families. Every day, your amazing teams serve people with unwavering dedication and compassion. And we share your vision of empowerment, of inclusion, and we're committed to meeting the needs of people who rely on our assistance. It's why I'm so excited about our work to ensure that the supports we're providing are flexible, person-centered, and can grow and adapt over an individual's lifetime. This year, our government is investing nearly $3.7 billion to better support people with developmental disabilities, which is an increase of about $1.3 billion since we formed government. Our investments, our actions are making a huge difference, but it's your expertise, your innovation, your commitment that are critical to the success of our plan. And by working together, collaboratively, we can continue to build a stronger Ontario where everyone enjoys a true sense of belonging and everyone feels like they're at home. On behalf of Premier Ford and our entire government, thank you all for your hard work and for making a huge difference in communities right across Toronto. Please accept my best wishes for a productive annual general meeting, and thank you all again for everything you do.
(1948). Victoria Glover, the grandmother of a young boy with an intellectual disability, penned a letter to the Toronto Star. Quote, "I think it's time something was done for parents who, from a sense of faith and hope in a merciful providence, want to keep their children at home, living a normal life," she wrote. "These are real parents, only asking for a little aid and encouragement to shoulder their own heavy burden." End of quote. Just 6 weeks after her letter was published, more than 70 people met at the Carlton Street United Church and formed what would become Community Living Toronto. Then and now, this, our Community Living Toronto, never forgetting, always practicing what it means to build and become a community. One person, one family, one neighborhood, one partner at a time. From the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services, to all who make up this Community Living Toronto family, thank you. For 77 years of programming and innovation and new buildings, for 77 years of care and changing lives, for 77 years of a group of incredible people with a singular belief in and commitment to the power of community. Grandma Glover would be so proud. 77 years later, you are still asking for a little more aid and encouragement to shoulder your heavy burden. Thank you.
Well, thank you to Minister Parsa and Deputy Minister Zanotti for your kind words and continued support of the sector. It is now my pleasure to invite Linda and Ken Bauman. They have been part of our CLTO community for over 2 decades, as well as their son Ian. Thank you so much for being here today, and please join me at the podium to share a few words about your son Ian and his journey.
Good morning, everyone. Manal has given us 3 minutes to describe 25 years of involvement with community living. So here goes. Linda will start off.
Ken and I are grateful to be able to tell you in person how much we have appreciated the help of community living has given our son Ian and us over the past 25 years. Community living has always been positive, supportive, and constant. At age 26, Ian really wanted to be living on his own. Community living helped us meet with other families for over a year, and then support worker Chris Pope told us about the supported independent living program and found Philip a perfect match. Philip had already been in the SIL program for 8 years.
Early on, support worker Aaron Vanderveen and his colleagues helped Ian and Philip create a life plan. It was a wonderful way for Ian and Philip to express their dreams in a way that we could truly understand. Among other dreams, Ian wanted to go to Las Vegas and Philip wanted to go to Ireland. Both those dreams have come true. Ian and Philip stayed in their apartment through COVID. Support workers Al and Sarita visited often when Ian was alone on Christmas Day because our whole family was isolated. And community living ordered in Christmas dinner, and it was Chinese food, and Ian loved it.
Philip and Ian have had many special events, some sad, such as Philip's mom and dad's passing, but then many happy ones, birthdays. In fact, this year we celebrated Ian's 50th and Philip's 70th. They celebrate anniversaries, weddings, picnics. We're always happy to celebrate, and Aaron continues to share these occasions. When Ian fell at work and broke his neck, Al and Sarita were there through hospital visits, rehab visits, and home care when Ian was back in their apartment.
Ian and Philip, like all of us, need help with bureaucracy, filing income taxes, filling out government forms, navigating our healthcare system. And a community living support worker is there. Ian and Philip had jobs. Ian worked in a factory and then at Loblaws. Philip worked at Bun Electric for 37 years. Community living gave him a job coach to help them navigate their work environments, such as issues with coworkers or driving the forklift too fast. That was Philip.
After Ian's and Philip's retirements gave them free hours, community living offered yoga, cooking classes, and music jam at Community Junction. They continue to enjoy these activities. With weekly guidance, Ian and Philip are very independent. Together, they run their household, shopping, cooking meals, cleaning, paying bills, writing work orders, and they have fun together. As well as community junction classes, their favorite outings are the Eaton Center, Center Island, Swiss Chalet, and spending time with their families.
As we celebrate Ian and Philip's 25 years together, we express our gratitude for the community living support workers who have been there every week throughout those years. Today, Nadine carries on the tradition of supportive care. At the beginning of this journey, Linda and I were grateful that community living let us give Ian the gift of independence. Now, as we age, we are grateful to know that Ian has the community living team on their side. So thank you, everyone, for all your expertise and support through the years. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Linda and Ken. The trust and encouragement from families like yours really drives each one of us to remain committed to building and supporting our CLTO community to the best of our ability. So just a small token for thank you today and sharing your story. Thank you. That's great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, now on to our meeting this morning. Members of the community living will be asked to elect new board members, new members of the board of directors and appoint auditors for the corporation. You will also hear our treasurer's report on the financial status, and following the report, we will seek members' approval of the financial statements. In the spirit of celebrating the past year, Brad and I will also share some highlights for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. So the annual report that was included in the package, this one that's on the tables, was emailed to you or mailed to you. It's also available on the Community Living Toronto website following the AGM. Extra copies of all reports and minutes are available through the executive office by contacting Katya. Where's Katya? There you are. At 416-371-3763 or Katya Pereira at cltoronto.ca. Now on to the business portion of the meeting. The first item of business is the approval of the minutes of last year's annual general meeting on September 17th, 2024. I can't believe that was a year ago, sorry. But the minutes were included in the package sent out to all voting members. And as a reminder, only voting members may vote on motions. So I will now read a motion to approve these minutes. It is recommended that the minutes of the 76th annual general meeting of Tuesday, September 17th, 2024 be approved. May I ask for a mover and a seconder to please stand, state your name clearly for the record. So a mover, please. Bill Barber, and a seconder, please. Carol Layton. Is there any discussion? Those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Throughout the past year, your board of directors held 7 meetings, 5 of which were virtually, 3 of which in hybrid setting. And we believe the business conducted and the decisions made during those meetings were completed in the best interest of Community Living Toronto and its members. If you wish to examine the official signed minutes of the board of directors meetings, they are available through the executive office. Katya can help you with that as well. And I will now read a motion that it is recommended that the actions of the Board of Directors of Community Living Toronto for 2024-2025 be approved. May I ask for a mover and a seconder to please stand and state your name clearly for the record. Mover, please. Thank you, John Logie. Seconder? Diane Turner. Any discussion? Those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Okay, Governance Committee report. I would now like to invite a very familiar face, Val Pichet, Chair of the Governance Committee of the Board, to join me to speak about the election of new board members for 2025-26, share our board nominations report, and recognize our retiring board members. Val?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Steph. So basically, the governance committee of the board works throughout the year to present you with candidates who will continue to provide a diverse range of experience, skills, leadership, and community involvement to the Board of Community Living Toronto and its committees. Thank you to the members of the governance committee for your continued commitment. We have former board chairs, current board members that make up the governance committee, and sometimes it can be some treacherous work. So the folks who enjoy sitting around that table with me, I just want to thank you because it's really important to the credibility and validity of our work. So thank you for giving us your time. First, I would like to share that Laura Parsonson and Nelson Raposo will be retiring from the board. We want to take a moment to thank them for their engagement and volunteering their time, insights, and experience, not just with the board, but also other committees. And we all know how much Laura and Nelson were engaged with the organization as a whole. So a big, big thank you to Laura and Nelson for the time that they've given back in giving us their time. And I can absolutely confirm that they were not voiceless around that table. We will now move on into the election extension of board members for 2025-2026. This year, the Governance Committee proposes James Gennaro, Mary O'Hearn, and Anne Marie Fierro fill 3 of these vacancies on the Board of Directors for a 3-year term. A biography for each nominee is included in the board nominations report in the AGM package. And after interviewing all 3 candidates, we're very grateful that they've all accepted our nominations. The Governance Committee is also recommending that I, Valerie Pichet, this will be awkward if this doesn't go through, be approved for a 1-year extension for the 2025-2026 year without a formal ballot. I'm going to be watching those votes after. This year, there are 2 returning directors, Harvey Cooper and Jennifer Pereira, whose current terms have ended and who have been nominated to stand for re-election. The Governance Committee is recommending that Harvey Cooper and Jennifer Pereira be approved for a new 3-year term, 2025-2028. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize board members who aren't on the ballot, but who will continue to serve on the board this coming year. And the names are listed in your package, and some of them are here today. So thank you, Carol, Don, Matthew. I don't think I've missed anyone else from our board that's here today. So thank you for coming. I will now ask Steph to come up and put forward a motion to approve these nominees. Thank you.
Thanks, Val. Thanks to everyone who has put their name forward. And Val, 11 years on the board. We won't let you go yet. So thank you very much for all the service and time you've put in. So it is recommended by the Governance Committee that Valerie Pichet be approved for a 1-year extension, 2025-2026, and that Harvey Cooper, Jennifer Pereira, James Gennaro, Mary O'Hearn, and Anne Marie Fierro be approved for a 3-year term, 2025-2028, on Community Living Toronto's Board of Directors. Can I please have a mover and a seconder? Please stand and state your name clearly. Move, Carol Layton, seconder. Matthew Song, thank you. Any discussion? Any opposed? Okay. Motion carried. Thank you. So on behalf of the members of Community Living Toronto, I'd like to thank our Governance Committee for all their hard work the past year, and thank you, Val, for your leadership. As Val said, I'd also like to extend my deepest thanks to our retiring board members, Laura Parsonson and Nelson Raposo. So Laura, first of all, I think everyone in the room knows Laura. Laura has brought more than 37 years of experience as a high school teacher, along with the expertise and passion to advance equity and inclusion for all learners. For over 30 years, she has been a devoted member of the Etobicoke York Council, volunteering countless hours as an advocate. Since 2011, she has also served as the Etobicoke York Region representative on our board of directors, ensuring her community's needs and perspectives were always reflected at the table. Laura always did that. As both a parent advocate and a mentor, Laura has worked tirelessly to ensure that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities have the opportunity to live, learn, work, and play in their communities. She was a part of the original group of pilot parents and later became a mentor to others, offering support and guidance through lived experience. In 2018, she was recognized as an exceptional volunteer, a reflection of more than 600 hours of service supporting fundraising, leading holiday initiatives, and advancing local advocacy. Laura's leadership in fundraising has also left a direct and lasting mark. Her efforts, for instance, helped expand access to Creative Village studio programs, ensuring that those with limited financial resources could participate in enriching art, photography, choir, computer, and pottery classes. In every role, Laura has demonstrated a remarkable dedication to ensuring that people with intellectual disabilities are valued, included, and supported. Her contributions have strengthened not only the Etobicoke York community, but also the broader mission of Community Living Toronto. Laura and I also go back for many years from a very different chapter when Laura was my brother's high school teacher. But it's been a real pleasure to work alongside Laura on the board and really witness her continued dedication to the mission firsthand. So thank you, Laura. I think you're online listening. Nelson started volunteering with CLTO 25 years ago in various programs and has served on the CLTO Influencer since 2002 and has been a board member since 2017. And I will say, Nelson pushed us as a board. He really pushed us and to ensure that the experiences and insights of self-advocates are not only represented, but really help shape the work of CLTO. So Nelson, we thank you for your dedication to Community Living Toronto and for your continued efforts as a CLTO influencer. We hope you'll stay on for that. So thank you, Laura and Nelson. You will both be really missed. Now we're on to the fun stuff. I would like to ask Betty Yam, CLTO's Chief Financial and Administrative Officer, to deliver the Treasurer's Report on behalf of our Treasurer, Michael Douglas, who unfortunately couldn't be here. So Betty, over to you.
Thank you, Steph. The annual meeting package sent to each member of Community Living Toronto include an overview of our financial report. The package also included a copy of the financial statements and auditor report for the year ending March 31st, 2025. Audited and signed financial statements are also available upon request through Community Living Toronto's Executive Office. Last year, the Five to Survive campaign, led by CLTO and CLO, addressed the critical funding situation in the developmental service sector. As a result, we're grateful that CLTO received approximately $2.7 million, or 3% base funding increase from the Ontario Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services, which partially addressed the gap. In addition, at year-end, MCCSS provided us with a one-time funding of $715,000 to address an ongoing operating pressure due to individuals' changing needs. The Ontario Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development once again supported CLTO's My Job Match with $1.7 million through the government's Skills Development Fund to enhance the existing program. We're grateful for their support as we continue to tackle access to employment with our sector. This year, we're pleased to agree to a 2-year collective agreement effective April 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2025 with the Canadian Union of Public Employees, QB. Thank you to both the Union and Management Bargaining Committee members for the collaborations, leadership, and dedication to Community Living Toronto, our staff, and the people we support. Together, we have achieved a balanced collective agreement. Overall, CLTO's total revenue was $113 million, with detail provided in our annual report. Approximately 80% of our revenue was from the Ontario Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services. The balance came from important partners, including the Ministry of Labour, Immigration, Training and Skills Development, the City of Toronto, the United Way of Greater Toronto, as well as donation, fee-for-service programs, and entrepreneurial social ventures. Total expenses were $112.6 million. Revenue exceeded expenses in 2024-25 by $407,000. Financial results for Community Living Toronto are prepared by management and fairly presented in accordance with Chartered Professionals Accountant Practice Guidelines. These financial results has been audited by our external auditor at KPMG. I'd like to thank CLTO finance team, our treasurer, Michael Douglas, as well as the volunteer on the audit committee for all their work during the particularly challenging year. I will now ask our board chair, Stephanie, to come back to the stage to put forward two motions, one to approve the financial statements and the second to approve the appointments of the auditor for the coming year.
I just want to clarify for the record that the two-year collective agreement is April 1st, 2024 to March 31st, 2026. I think it was 2025 in the notes. Okay, so I move that the audited financial statements of Community Living Toronto for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2025 be approved. May I ask for a seconder to please stand and state your name clearly for the record? Thank you, Matthew. Any discussion? Those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Thank you. I further move that the firm of KPMG be reappointed as auditors for Community Living Toronto for the fiscal year of 2025-2026. May I have a seconder to please stand and state your name clearly for the record? Thank you, Carol. Any discussion? Those in favor? Any opposed? Perfect, motion carried. Betty, on behalf of the members of Community Living Toronto and the board and the entire team, thank you so much for your report, your expertise, guidance, dedication. We really do know how much work goes into all of this. So we really appreciate all of the hard work. So before we move into our update on activities for 2024-25, we have a very special recognition to present, and I'd like to invite Brad up here to do that.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming. Before we start, we've been at this about 30-40 minutes. It's warm in here. Stand up, say hello to your neighbor, shake a hand, get to know who. I'm serious. Everybody stand up. I grew up in a Baptist church, so this is a thing. Really pleased to present this award today. The Jim Turner Award for Outstanding Volunteerism is awarded annually to someone within the agency or community who has made significant contributions to the lives of people with intellectual disabilities and their families. This award was created in honor of Jim Turner, a two-time president of our board of directors of Community Living Ontario, and one of our most dedicated leaders. He was an advocate and a friend. On our 50th anniversary, Jim was the very first recipient of the association's Volunteer of the Year Award. Jim passed away in 2010. And that loss was deeply felt across the organization and the sector. After much discussion around how to honor his incredible legacy, the award was renamed as the Jim Turner Award for Outstanding Volunteerism. We are especially pleased that Diane Turner, Jim's wife, is with us today to join us in celebrating this year's recipient, the Honorable John Baird. Mr. Baird has shown a strong personal commitment to developmental services sectors throughout his career. His expertise and effort have helped raise awareness of the issues and that directly affect people with intellectual disabilities and their families. Before his time in federal politics, Mr. Baird spent 10 years in the Ontario legislature, including time as the Minister of Community and Social Services. In that role, he played a significant part in repealing the Homes for Retarded Persons Act, pardon the language, a critical step in ensuring that people with intellectual disabilities are recognized with the dignity and respect that they deserve as full members of society. John actually donated a document to Community Living Toronto that includes that repeal, along with a picture of himself and Lieutenant Governor Hilary Weston signing the document. I have a picture of that in my office and on several occasions have been fortunate enough to show people from other countries and other parts of the country and around the world that picture as an example of the progress that Ontario has made over the years. John was a minister of consequence and a strong supporter of the community living movement, including leading significant investments in the sector. John also had a bit of a legendary reputation for skirting bureaucrats, going out and doing things on weekends so that he could present checks to organizations or just get to know people directly and face to face. Beyond public office, Mr. Baird continues to volunteer his time with Community Living Ontario and other nonprofit organizations. He's remained an advocate and a champion for building a community where everyone belongs and where everyone is valued. It is my deep honor to present this year's Jim Turner Award for Outstanding Volunteerism to the Honorable John Baird. John and Diane, if you could join me up stage.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here. I can remember when I first became minister, when I first became a politician, they said you should always say a joke to sort of warm up the crowd. And I would give a lot of speeches to community living organizations, a lot of visits to community living organizations around the province. It was naturally, as you would expect, difficult and challenging to find a joke you could say to a crowd of people working with people with intellectual disabilities. But this is actually a true story because most jokes have an antecedent of truth in them. When I was first elected, we went on these tours we would do across Ontario. We would always, the centerpiece would always be to visit a local association for community living. And I'm just 30 years old. I've just been appointed to cabinet. I'm in my second term as an MPP, and we went up to Sudbury, Ontario, and we pulled up to the Sudbury and District Association for Community Living office. And there was the executive director standing out front to greet us. And we pulled up in a rented purple minivan, very glamorous traveling when you're a provincial cabinet minister. And we pulled up, and my young aide and I got out of the car. And I'll never forget this executive director, this woman. She smiled at us, walked right past me and shook my assistant's hand and said, "Welcome, Minister. We're so glad to have you in Sudbury." And very awkwardly, Will Stewart, who some of you I think still know, explained to this executive director that he wasn't the minister that I was, and pointed to me. And she looked at me very apologetically and said, "I'm so sorry, Minister. I was told the minister was young and good looking." To which I looked at her with a strange look on my face, and she pointed to Will, like, he's wearing this lovely nice suit. Will had got that on sale at a suit place in Toronto, and I had got the exact same suit and was wearing the exact same suit as him. But that was the lowest point of my time as Minister of Community Services. But the highest point was when we, in the picture there is the Lieutenant Governor, who just recently passed away, Hilary Weston. And you know, in the United States, you see the President of the United States always signing bills into law. But in Canada, it's done by the Governor General at the provincial level by Lieutenant Governors. And when the legislature passed this omnibus bill, taking the word mentally retarded, the words mentally retarded out of 17 different pieces of legislation. And I asked her, would she be willing to come to, I think it was Ontario Association for Community Living Convention and sign it into law. And they told me she will never do it. It's never done. This is American. She's nonpartisan. I said, well, this bill got unanimous consent. It's, it's like, a mom and apple pie type thing. But she agreed to do it, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house when she did it. And that happened because of the community living movement. I was at a meeting much like this, and a young woman stood up and asked me, "Why do you think I'm retarded?" And I was just taken aback by this. And then she was the one actually that told me that this was still in broadly in 17 different pieces of legislation. And she was the instigator to get it changed. And is what made me such a passionate supporter of self-advocates, because they can tell the story so much more directly and so much more honestly in a way that none of the rest of us can. So thank you so much for this great award. It's a real honor. Thank you.
Congratulations, John, and thank you, Diane, for being here today as well. So now turning to our update on activities for 2024-2025. The Strategic Communications and Stakeholder Relations team has, and the Executive Office at Community Living Toronto have been working tirelessly on our annual report filled with inspiring stories and information that reflects our achievements in the past year. And I would really encourage you to pick up a copy of the report and learn more about CLTO's work and impact. It's a fantastic document. This past year, we redesigned programs to give people more choice in how they live and participate in their communities. We expanded supportive living options, grew our employment program, and relocated some services to better meet people's needs. We modernized our operations from communications to project management to better support people, families, and staff across the organization. We strengthened our partnerships to diversify revenue, make better use of our spaces, and build on innovative housing opportunities for people with intellectual disabilities. Housing remains a key focus area as we work towards our goal of inclusive communities, and projects like the Lawson redevelopment are giving us a real opportunity to bring accessible, inclusive housing to life. And our goal was clear: to continue supporting people at every stage of life, from early childhood services through to youth, adults, and seniors, with quality services and care as our topmost priority. We are grateful for the funding we received from the government and the support of our donors, which really helped us keep essential services available during very challenging times. But the reality is that sustainable funding remains the biggest challenge for our sector. That is why advocacy is central to our efforts. And this year, we worked with sector partners to call for stronger supports and policies so people with intellectual disabilities can have a home, a job, and a community where they belong. We also continue to advocate for sustainable funding and inclusive policies and work together with MCCSS to strengthen the sector's stability. Completing another year would not have been possible without the trust of the people we support, their families and friends, and members of our community. And I also want to take a moment to thank Brad and the leadership team, my fellow board members, and our dedicated staff to their dedication and commitment. Our work is ongoing, but I am encouraged by the progress we have made and confident in the steps we are taking together towards our mission. So thank you to everyone. I now will pass it off to Brad Saunders, CEO.
Thank you, Steph. Our annual report highlights a lot of the work that we've accomplished over the past year, and I'd just like to pick a few things out that I think are worth mentioning. I'm grateful to Ian's parents who had to leave. They took the subway down. I think they're trying to avoid some of the mess on the way back, but for their warmth and openness and allowing us to share in their son's journey with all of you. Ian and Philip have been part of CLTO for more than 2 decades, and their journey is one of hope, dreams, and the importance of community that we try and build every day. We saw some lovely pictures earlier, and it is wonderful to see the relationships that our staff have built with them over the years and remind us why community matters, why Toronto is so important, and what becomes possible when people are supported to follow their dreams. Another story we loved capturing was from a family whose daughter, Dwindy, attended Shadow Lake for the first time this past summer. Her parents told us how welcome she felt from the moment she arrived and how her day was filled with joy and connection, from arts and crafts to swimming and campfires. At the end of her stay, she went home with happy memories and one big request: to be registered right away for the fall and winter camps. Equity, diversity, and inclusion is also very important to our organization. And this year, our leadership team continued our commitment to learning and growth and participated in the 4 Seasons of Indigenous Learning, a program designed by the University of Alberta to deepen our understanding of Indigenous histories and our role in reconciliation. We also joined Allyship 101, a webinar series led by our ERG, Employee Resource Group, the Pride Collective, which explored gender diversity, unconscious bias, and allyship. These efforts and many more on a day-to-day basis reflect the values we want to commit to as an organization. Our CLT influencers continue to do great work. As we talk of inclusion and belonging, our influencers have taken that message far and wide. They have grown their online presence to over 15,000 followers, amplifying their message. They've had several stories go viral where they're getting millions of views and tens of thousands of shares online. Through every opportunity they engage with the community, they not only remind us of the power of self-advocacy, but also the empowerment other self-advocates and allies should get from their experience and be part of the conversation that we're all having. This past year, 353 volunteers joined us. Many of them were people who have an intellectual disabilities. One of them is Olive, a passionate and dedicated volunteer. Olive spends her time giving back in places like Foster's Clubhouse, our food bank, and Toronto Community Housing. At our 2024 Leaders in Philanthropy Awards, she was also honored with the Ken Sam Samler Award for her work in amplifying the voices of people with lived experience. It was her first time being publicly recognized, and we could see the immense pride that it brought her. Stories like Olive's remind us how important it is to support people to do what they love doing, build communities where everyone belongs. At the heart of all of this is community, not only through our programs and services, but also through the ways that we connect, the relationships that we have with each other. We've done a lot around in terms of webinars and events and advocacies and stories. And these efforts have also helped create belonging, where people can see themselves reflected and know that they matter. These new ways and avenues of creating connection through the digital world have really helped and been taken advantage of by our organization. Each year, Community Living Toronto loses some of our members and people that we're connected with. And this past year, we also lost people who are deeply connected to our community. And I just want to highlight 2 to represent the types of people that we work with on a regular basis. Kelly lived her life with joy, courage, and creativity. Her energy and voice touched everyone around her. From her art to her role as an advocate, to her leadership in the 2S LGBTQ+ community, she reminded us of the power of living authentically and using her voice to lift others up. She inspired many of us, including me, with her unwavering belief in being true to herself. She often called Community Living Toronto her chosen family. Another person we lost was Paul McCormick, who also passed away this year. And he most recently was engaged with Community Living Toronto through a Trillium staffing agency that we use regularly with Community Living Toronto. I first met Paul years ago when he set up the special needs team, which is now run by Luminous, which was established to allow families to get the support that they needed for their children without going through a Children's Aid Society. That's also another initiative that John Baird led. He was a compassionate and visionary leader, and he's the best of what public service should be. He was also a friend, and I will miss him. I know that others of us in this room, especially if you're on staff or family members, you've also lost people this year. And I think rather than being in remembering Paul and Kelly and those others, it also reminds us that the work we do is not abstract. It's not theoretical. It is about real lives and real people and the communities we build together. Finally, to the staff the people we support, their families, and our community of caregivers and allies, thank you for your continued trust. And to our staff, your dedication and resilience inspire me and the rest of us every single day. You make a difference in big ways and in small, and for that I thank you. As we move forward, we will keep striving to better support, to provide better supports and have deeper inclusion for people with intellectual disabilities. Together, we are building a community where everyone belongs and where everyone is valued. Thank you, and Steph, back over to you.
Thanks, Brad. Well, that's a wrap, everyone. Thank you to everyone who joined us today and the team, really, who made this all happen. And it's a great event every year. This brings the 77th Annual General Meeting to a close. I do have one more piece of business, though. It is recommended that the 77th Annual General Meeting of Community Living Toronto be adjourned. May I ask for a mover and a seconder to please stand and state your name clearly for the record? Mover, please. Bill Barber, seconder. Carol Layton. Any discussion? Those in favor? Any opposed? Perfect. Motion carried. Thank you all for joining us this morning. There's tons of refreshments, so please help yourself, take the opportunity to meet your colleagues and friends in the room, and thanks again for coming this morning.